Hello, in today's video, I wanted to record a message on the the nuances of manifestation and the energies that are coming on board that are related to manifestation or creation, or in fact alignment of our three-dimensional nature with with kind of the what we come to call the primordial tone of creation. And so all of those things, manifestation, creation, primordial tone, are in fact one, the terminology of oneness, right? They all represent and they all exist within the same essence of us as humanity. And so what's happening in the most recent past um, is the energy that connects us to the primordial tone of creation, basically, are coming what we would consider closer and closer to us in our three-dimensional existence. I have recently, in my three-dimensional form as Tanya, had um, an experience where I was able to understand the energy, uh, or I was shown the primordial energy of creation, right? Kind of like that exuberant energy of unification in its original state, right? In a state where I would I called the space the in between, but then I do not know what else to call it. But this would be similar to the place where, in a lot of NDEs, the near-death experiences, individuals talk about a place of kind of like the in between, and so that in between place carries no outside frequency feeds. And so within that space, if you can travel to that space, you would be able to experience energies at their true existence without interferences of then I would refer to as what we call dimensions, right? Because the energy in its purest form travels in a straight line without any interruption, without any feed, but as it passes different dimensional spaces, um, it fractures or fractalizes really into the adaptation of that energy within that dimension. And I know that sounds weird, but I'll try to kind of put a human spin on it, trying to give the idea of what that actually means in our language and in our world. But as it travels through and it passes through the different dimensional frequencies, the spaces of in between, right? The space that a lot of ND patients talk about, and some astro travelers would talk about this. Trying to think who else, any kind of spiritual meditation, when you would go into that space of nothing, that would be considered the space of in between. But the space of in between is really a space of awe, and then the dimensions hold the pockets of taking those energetic frequencies and then basically working with them, or allowing them to function in their a fractal state within the parameters of, let's say, 5D or 6D or 7D, whatever you want to call it. And so the with us, the hardest part in our adaptation is that the primordial tone of any energy, really, you name it, and so as the energy comes through, for it to enter into our three-dimensional space, right, which is kind of like the densest and the heaviest space of existence, if I have to quantify that from the human standpoint, would be a complete deterioration is not the right word, but complete disassembling of this energy, right, to where it exists in the most fractal-like state possible, right? So if you have a a glass ball, right? If you have a glass ball, and um, and then the glass ball shatters, right, in the tiniest little pieces. Within the each piece, right, it represents the whole, right? So it's like, a lot of people refer to as above, so below. So in a way, kind of sort of this applies to where, as this energy, as this glass ball shatters into the tiniest little pieces, right, that existence or the essence of it while it was in oneness is still present in every piece, yet it is now exist, what some might call it in a holographic format, as a fractal, um, that reflects the whole, holds the whole, but is in fact, just part of the whole. And I'm not saying the rest of the pieces are required in order for you to glimpse the whole within any one fractal, any one shard of that glass ball. But through the broken dimensions of the ball, you will be able to see how this piece somehow fits into something larger. And so the experience that then I had, that was carried over from this space of in between, and then transmuted into the three-dimensional space, is the energy of creation, right? I got to experience the energy of creation within its primordial tone, and then I got to feel how that energy would then propagate itself from the space of pureness, and then work its way down into our three-dimensional space. Hence, this particular form and body lives there. um, and what it comes down to, or what the really what the message behind it is that we hold all potential to manifest and to create, and to experience unity and oneness, and that blissful knowledge of truth within the fact that we exist. We are, each one of us is in fact that, shard, um, of glass, that is part of the whole, right? And so, in the mere nature of your existence, you hold all potential for manifestation and creation. And so, the amplified energy, especially after the winter solstice, that is now coming into the earth, is there to showcase to each one of us the our own ability to truly manifest and truly create, without limit. And I say that, uh, because it is truly without limit, because in the sense, we are manifesting our reality as it is, but now the shift is causing us to see and to allow ourselves to interpret what it means to have almost instantaneous manifestation or almost instantaneous creation, and that is where we're going. And so I think in my previous video I threw out the words of caution of, as this gap between thought and manifestation collapses, right? We would have to be more conscious or more aware of what is it that we're thinking and wishing for, realizing that we are now hold, within our grasp, almost immediate potential to create. And so, within that space, one can choose to manifest things of love, and one can choose to manifest things of truth and divinity. But at the same time, if we function in fear and we function in turmoil and pain, then it would be natural for us to, um, uh, knowingly, but at the same time, kind of blindly manifest things that are more of fear and that are more of pain and then more of turmoil. And so the the message is start to draw awareness of where your thoughts are generating from. Where is the essence of your being drawing the energy? And then what place of you are you channeling that energy towards? And that's kind of the key of of building the future that we actually desire to see. And then two, um, a way a way for us to thrive personally, to for us to thrive as a nation, or even for us to thrive as as residents of Earth in this three-dimensional space, is we would individually have to gain recognition and responsibility for our thoughts and for our ways of living, then manifest the outcomes that we actually want to see. And so the caution is there, but at the same time, message of awareness should be perceived as how do you draw awareness onto the fact that now you can manifest things quicker than ever before, and then not be careless within the parameters of that manifesting. And so that's the message, and that's kind of the trajectory, or the next step in our evolutionary development, is this ability to experience something that we might not be used to experiencing, but at the same time, possibly not having enough time of being able to be aware of what is it that is happening around and in us, and why the world is the way it is, outside of the fact that we are in fact creating the world in the image of our desires. So, hope this is helpful. I hope this clarifies what the world is going through right now, or possibly what you're going through right now. And but it's definitely, from the three-dimensional standpoint, an interesting place to be, especially if you start to draw awareness around your own truth. So thank you for listening.